Here we have a vector. It's pointing down and to the right, or as we'd probably say, south and to the east. It is of a certain length long, and so we have to identify it. Remember, a vector shows us the magnitude and the direction. So the direction is fairly obvious, but we could be more precise than south and east. The direction is probably going to be pretty simple to measure. The first thing we want to do is measure the magnitude. So I'm going to take a ruler and measure from the tail of the vector all the way to the tip. So I'm going to take my ruler and very carefully do so right now. And in this case, I get a magnitude of, I'm going to write it over here, of 7.8 centimeters on my ruler. Now there's no scale indicated, so we're just going to leave it at this. We don't know if this is representing newtons or velocity or what, so we leave it as it is. Now the thing I notice is it's going slightly more to the east than it is to the south. It really doesn't matter where you start this next step, but I like to do that way. I like to notice what direction it has a tendency towards. So I'm going to take my ruler again. I'm going to very, very carefully draw a reference line to the east. Okay, it's not perfectly lined up, but that's okay. It's still pointing directly to the east. So now I'm going to take my protractor, and as you can see, it's pretty useless as it is. I'll need to flip it upside down. Okay, the reason I needed to flip it upside down is because I needed to line up the starting point of my vector with that little hole in the center of the protractor. And also I needed to make sure that it's in line with my reference line. So as you can see, the dotted line I made, I'm making sure it's even with that, and I put the little hole right where the vector starts. So the little hole right where the vector starts, and it is lined up so that the zero line of the protractor is in line with my reference line. In this case, my reference line is to the east. Okay, this is just reference. I'm just going to remember that's to the east. Now, since I'm starting to the east, I could actually say we're starting to the east here. So down here in my brackets, my direction, I'm indicating east. Now, how many degrees is it from the east? Well, this is just a reference line. It doesn't have to actually line up. The point is that this is parallel right here. And so here's 0 degrees right here. Once again, it doesn't matter that it doesn't line up perfectly with my reference line because east is everywhere. So I'm starting here. So it's 10 and then not quite 20 degrees, which means I'm going to say 15, 16, 17, 18 degrees. So I'm going to write that over here. It's 18 degrees. And then what direction did I measure toward? Well, I measured toward the south. So I'm going to write to the south. Okay, so that is actually the description of this vector. I'm going to put away my protractor. And I'm going to delete any reference lines or erase any reference line because they're sloppy if I left them here. So this vector, to reiterate, when I measure it from tail to the tip, is 7.8 centimeters long. The direction is measured from the east, it's east, and then 18 degrees to the south.